The day my career fell apart, my family did not ask if I was okay. They only wanted to know who would cover the debt of my sister. My father silently packed my clothes into a cardboard box because my sister needed my bedroom more than I did. They had no idea I already owned a beautiful property down the coast that would soon bring their entire world down. My name is Darcy Miller, and at 36 years old, I realized my relatives viewed me as nothing but a human bank account. I operate a specialized company rebuilding coastal homes that the ocean has damaged. I spent years working hard with my own hands to build a successful business. My family never bothered to understand my work, assuming I was just a basic construction worker. 18 months ago, my father suffered a major health crisis, so I moved back to my hometown of Oakhaven to support my parents. I managed the household, covered the property taxes, and even signed for a vehicle loan for my sister Chloe. I commuted 3 hours every single week between my real life on the shore and my family duties. I never complained because I loved them. Everything shattered on a Friday when my primary investor backed out of a massive resort project. I lost a quarter of my annual revenue in a single phone call. When I arrived at the house of my parents that evening, I found a gathering in the living room. My mother Miriam, Chloe, and her lazy boyfriend Jax were already waiting for me with dark expressions. Word traveled fast through local suppliers, and they already knew about my financial loss. Instead of offering comfort, Chloe demanded to know how her monthly bills would be paid now. My mother calmly explained that Chloe and Jax were planning a wedding and required my bedroom. My father Arthur walked inside and began placing my shirts into a moving box without looking at my face. They told me I always land on my feet, using my personal strength as an excuse to mistreat me. I refused to argue with people who only valued my labor. I gathered the box, walked out into the night, and drove back toward the ocean. As the salt air filled my lungs, I decided to stop funding a household that threw me out like trash. Back at my office, my business partner Paige urged me to completely sever the financial ties. That very night, I logged into my accounts and canceled the automated payments for the property taxes and home insurance of my parents. I also stopped paying the vehicle loan for Chloe. I knew the default might hurt my own credit score, but freedom was worth the minor bruise. I opened a secure folder on my desk containing the deed to a coastal cottage I purchased 3 years ago. My family knew nothing about this property. It originally belonged to my grandmother Eleanor, the only person who ever truly loved me. She lost it decades ago during hard financial times, and her heart had been broken ever since. I spent years restoring it. While working on the old fireplace of the cottage the next day, I discovered a rusted tin hidden inside the wall. Inside were vintage photographs and a handwritten note from my grandmother. Her ultimate wish was to watch one more sunset from the porch of a home that belonged to her. I immediately resolved to grant her that wish for her upcoming 80th birthday. 2 days later, my cousin Garrett called with a terrifying warning about a bank notice. My mother had secretly opened a massive home equity line of credit against her property. To secure the loan, she used my personal information and forged my signature on the legal documents. The account was now severely delinquent, and the bank was holding me liable for the debt. I refused to let panic consume me. I met with my attorney to file a formal fraud dispute, an identity theft affidavit, and a police report against my own mother. The legal system would take months to investigate, but the paper trail proved I never signed those documents. The financial institution would soon turn its full attention toward the people who actually stole the money. A bizarre twist occurred when an online booking request arrived for my coastal cottage. My mother Miriam wanted to rent the beautiful property for the big birthday celebration of Eleanor. She did not recognize the restored house from the internet photos, and she had no idea her discarded daughter owned it. I accepted the booking and prepared for a final public reckoning. On the afternoon of the celebration, the entire family arrived at the gorgeous oceanfront property. My mother was busy bragging to the guests about the expensive venue she had secured. When they walked onto the main deck, they froze in absolute shock as I stepped out of the front door. Chloe looked furious, and my mother immediately demanded to know why I was ruining the event. I ignored the anger of my mother and walked straight to my grandmother Eleanor. I handed her a legal document establishing a permanent life estate, meaning the house belonged to her for the rest of her days. Eleanor wept with pure joy as she realized she was finally back home. The surrounding relatives watched in silence, completely stunned by the revelation. Then I turned to face my mother and the rest of the family. I openly revealed that the beautiful estate belonged entirely to me, and that my mother had attempted to rent it using stolen funds. I presented the official police report regarding the forged loan documents. I informed her that the detectives and the bank investigators would be contacting her before the weekend concluded. The color completely vanished from the face of my mother, while Jax and Chloe began arguing loudly about their vehicle. They tried to accuse me of destroying the family, but the guests could see the truth clearly. I ordered the dishonest relatives to leave my property immediately, allowing only my grandmother and the supportive cousins to remain for the beautiful sunset. My mother now faces severe legal consequences and the loss of her own home due to the fraudulent loan. Chloe lost her vehicle to repossession because she refused to secure a job. I remain at the coast with Eleanor, watching the waves crash against the shore. I learned that family is not a financial obligation, and I will never hold the door open for users again.